How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Capes and Tights, a comic book and pop culture podcast. I'm your host, Justin Soderberg. We're back for another Who Is episode here, a bonus episode of the podcast. But before we get started, check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Capes and Tights Podcast, on Twitter at Capes Tights Pod and capesandtights.com, as well as Spotify, Apple, and all your major podcasting platforms out there. But let's get to the episode. Let's talk about what we're talking about today, which is the Ms. Marvel TV show hitting Disney Plus this June. So we thought we'd set you up and give you a little bit of an advance notice and a little bit of information on who Ms. Marvel is in the comic books, as well as what they're expected to be in the MCU. Obviously, sometimes we find out a little bit more once we actually hit the TV show or movie when it comes out. But before that, let's get started with some stuff. So let's just pull out my notes here. Ms. Marvel, alias Camilla Khan. She was created by editors Sana Amanet and Steve Wacker, as well as writers G. Willow Wilson and artist Adrian Alfano and Jamie McKelvey. Before we go any further here, let me just say this show is going to be a tongue twister for me, for the actors, actresses, and people involved in it, just because of the Muslim character involvement, the Pakistani part of it, the non-traditional American names that I'm used to. I'm so happy for this, but it's just gonna be a tongue twister for me. So, check that out as well as we keep it going, is that I'm going to be tongue twisted over the whole when I say the different people that are in the show. But Camilla Khan's first appearance was in Captain Marvel number 14 from 2013, August of 13. That's her cameo appearance as Kamala Khan in that issue. She became Miss Marvel in the all-new Marvel Now .1, number 1 point now, in January of 2014. If that is a tongue twister, as as they said, these names will be. It's obviously that's her first appearance as Miss Marvel, like I mentioned before. Khan is the Marvel's first Muslim character to headline her own comic book, which was with Miss Marvel number 1 in February of 2014. So that's her first appearances-ish. So Captain Marvel 14 in August of 2013, and all new Marvel Now .1, number 1 point now, January of 2014. Those are her first appearances as Kamala Khan and Miss Marvel, but her first solo appearance is in Miss Marvel number 1 from February of 2014. So let's move on here. Her comics bio. So again, this is going to be some point of contention here between the MCU and Marvel, and the Marvel comic books that we know and love growing up and reading as well. So there is some differences and things are changing. So let me go over a little bit, the difference between the two comics bio and the MCU bio. So her comics bios is Camilla Khan, aka Miss Marvel, is a Muslim Pakistani American teenager from New Jersey. She possesses latent inhuman lineage activated by the Terrigen bomb. When she was exposed to the Terrigen mist, she became a polymorph with the ability to stretch her body in almost any way imaginable. Kamala was a huge fan of superheroes, especially Carol Danvers, the former Miss Marvel. She went on to become the newest holder of the Miss Marvel identity. Her comics powers and abilities are morphogenics, elongation, size alteration, accelerated healing factor, as is most superheroes and comic book people, appearance alteration, and bioluminescence. Her comics weaknesses is electromagnetic pulses. Miss Marvel's body is vulnerable to EMPs, which can weaken her elasticity, and also has overexerted healing. Overuse of her healing factor temporarily weakens her elasticity powers. So that's the Marvel comic books, the 616 Earth comic book version of Miss Marvel, what she is as a comic book character. MCU bio is a 16-year-old Pakistani American high school student from New Jersey City who is an aspiring artist, avid gamer, and writes superhero fan fiction about heroes such as Captain Marvel. So there's that connection there. Obviously, that's not much different. Jersey girl, Pakistani American, and loves Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, and she's a fan of superheroes. This is where it's different. Khan gains the ability to harness cosmic energy and create and constructs from a magical bangle. That's where it's different. And that's where the contention and the confusion and the arguments on the internet is. It's between her ability to be elastic, and her ability to be, cosmic energy. The other side of that can be is that she's getting her powers not from the Terrigen Mist, which is an inhuman storyline in the comic book. So we all know Marvel kind of failed miserably with an Inhumans TV show and an Inhumans movie that never was made for the MCU. So Inhumans kind of got pushed to the back. I have a theory on that, and that's mainly because Marvel wants to eventually put the mutants into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And at the time the Inhumans TV show was being put onto TV, there was no X-Men or mutants in the MCU. Fox owned those. Fox and Disney merged and created the ability for Marvel to have the mutant gene in the MCU. So my feeling is they're going to try to not use the Inhumans as much, because in the original idea, maybe the Inhumans was going to be their mutants and let Fox have the mutants. But now that they have the ability to have both, it may be more confusing to the regular consumer and the regular viewer of their TV shows and movies to just have one of those, because they're very similar, Inhumans and mutants in the simple sense. So her abilities were gained in the comic books from being an Inhuman in the Terrigen Mist, whereas in the movies, there is no Inhumans yet, and there is no Inhumans being talked about yet, or anytime in the near future. And so for that, they were able to give her energy, cosmic energy, in a different way. Instead of elasticity, she has cosmic energy. Instead of Inhumans, it's a magical bangle that she has. So it'd be interesting to see how they work that in and figure out how they actually do it, and see if it's a great change from the comics to the movies. We all know I'm a big fan of the idea that the comics universe is one thing, the Marvel TV shows and movies is another thing. And if they need to change some things to go back and forth, I'm all with it, because I love both of them and their own standing entities. So Kamala Khan and Miss Marvel will make her MCU appearance, her first appearance, her premiere in her self-titled TV show, Miss Marvel, which hits Disney Plus streaming June 8th, 2022. The show will consist of 6 episodes and set up the Marvels film that's going to hit theaters July 28th in 2023. Miss Marvel is part of Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4. The show was created by Bisha K. Ali, who also wrote and did some stuff on Loki for Disney Plus. It is going to star, here we go, people, here we go, Ayman Velani, yes, Ayman Velani as Kamala Khan / Miss Marvel, Matt Lintz as Bruno Carelli. So cool thing is I met Matt Lintz at the Bangor Comic and Toy Con in April of 2022. Great dude, awesome dude. Can't wait to see him in this. He was also in the Walking Dead TV show. Yasmin Fletcher as Nakia Bahadar, Zenobi Ashraf as Munib Khan, Mohan Kapar as Yusuf Khan, Sagar Shayaga as Amir Khan, Rish Shah as Kamran, Laurel Marsden as Zoe Zimmer, Adakadu, Ano, I can't say his last name, Anon Ogabo as Faria, and Laya Nakali as Shakiga Adabala, Trivani Springer as Tisha Hillman, and Amaras Knight as Kareem, or the Red Dagger. Whew. I didn't need to say all those things. I wanted to attempt it. I butchered every single one of those, I promise. The ones you really need to know are Ayman Velani, who is Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. Matt Lintz is a very easy one. Obviously, Yasmin Fletcher is coming in there as well. So there's going to be a huge family. It's going to be fun to see. Look for our review following the film's season finale, expected on July 13th, 2022. The week after or 2 weeks after, we'll be reviewing that, Adam and I here. It is also known that is the lowest, as in the most kid-friendly of all Marvel things that have been in the MCU. I believe it's got what's considered as a G rating on Disney Plus as well. So that'd be a fun little twist on things. We just went from Moon Knight, which is a pretty graphic and intense TV show. And if anybody's seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, that is probably at the limits of a PG-13 movie. Now we're going to get that PG style thing over at Disney Plus. So I'm excited for it. Let's see Kamala Khan and Miss Marvel on the TV screen as we prepare for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So again, this has been a bonus episode of Who is Miss Marvel? Check out Disney Plus's Marvel series, Miss Marvel, starting on June 8th, 2022, only on Disney Plus. Thanks, guys, for listening to the Capes and Tights podcast. I'm Justin Soderberg, your host. And until next time, follow us every Tuesday for a new episode or visit capesandtights.com. Peace.